Happy Wednesday, last day of January.
I can't believe it.
It's a good month.
Has flown by.
Really?
But also been long.
I feel like this has been a long month.
January 47th.
I've had too much going on with the kids. I feel like my life is passing.
Just in general.
Go through January again.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that.
I always
It's been dragging.
I always refer to this part of winter as like the doldrums.
Yeah, it's like after the holidays.
There's like just nothing happening.
You're just ready for spring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it seems like mental health is at the top of mind for everybody, including Elmo. Right?
Yeah, so we were talking about this during the show this morning. Mental health being highlighted by an unlikely TV star. So Elmo put this post out on X earlier this week. He simply asked how folks are doing.
How are you doing? Tell me.
This went viral.
Innocent
Elmo
enough.
is here.
Millions of people, and they all answered pretty honestly. The general consensus is a lot of folks are in a rough spot right now. So we did go ahead and take a look at your screen. We pulled some of the thousands of responses that people were sharing to this post all week. Now, some were talking about recent struggles that they've had. Others had some very open discussions about their mental health right now. And then Elmo responded. And so he tweeted out another post. It reads in part that he's glad that he asked, and he wants to remind folks how important it is that we check up on each other. Now, both of these tweets, again, they're getting attention from millions. They both went viral, and it's not even just people that's chiming in. Companies, Buffalo Wild Wings, Chipotle, even Shake Shack, they all responded to this post, including some of the folks here at home. So bringing it to the Carolinas, here in Charlotte, CMPD shared the tweet as well. And then on its X account, it reminded folks, hey, you're not alone, and there's always help. You just got to ask for it. And then even President Biden chimed in. He had a similar sentiment, just adding that help is out there. So we asked during the morning show, we wanted to take this opportunity to ask how often you're checking in on your friends. It might be time to make a few phone calls. Make sure you drop a comment here below.
If Elmo does it before you do it, that's a bad sign.
I know. Bad sign.
You know, but we're all guilty of probably not checking in with folks as much as we should.
Well, people get in the habit, too. You come to work, you say, hey, how are you doing? And everyone just says, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Yeah.
Until they're not, or they just don't admit to it, and you just never know what people are really going through.
Yeah, because most people, it's a small talk. You don't expect somebody to say, I'm not well. So, and they kind of bury that inside.
Expect them to be like, well, funny you should say.
Yeah.
I'm going to a you're like,
Right.
you're like, I'm just in the break room. I was just sort of being polite.
Yeah. I don't have time.
My counselor.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think a lot of people, I think that's the reason it's resonated with so many people is because, you know, everybody's busy, everybody's caught up in their lives.
It's interesting this time of year. It is, like you said, that lull. People have like seasonal
doldrums.
Affective disorder.
Yes.
Known as SAD, so it's appropriately named.
And it's a real thing.
It's a real thing, and especially for people up north, say up in the Great Lakes area, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, because it's just constant cloud cover, so you literally don't see the sun that much. And up in New England, the same thing can happen. We kind of luck out. We see a lot more sunnier days than some of our northern
That's why
friends.
everybody's coming south.
Yeah.
Coming out of
Come
Charlotte.
on down.
What a place to be.
But it's still very important because seasonal affective disorder is still a form of depression, even though it doesn't last as long. So let's learn a little bit more on how to overcome it in this week's Weather IQ. Roll tape. I think it's here.
Oh, I don't see it in our preview monitor. And this was so good.
All right, well, it was a good... we're
it's
getting it right now. I
coming.
thought it was coming right now, but I can build on it. And I know a lot of close friends and stuff from this. My dad personally says that he suffers from seasonal affective disorder. And we're going to learn a little bit more from this. But one thing I wasn't able to squeeze in here is some people actually get a specific light that they set up by their bedside because it's all about vitamin D. And sunlight gives that to us.
So by their bedside, is that so when they wake up, they're waking up to the...
Well, a lot of people like lay in bed or just like do that. Or by the couch, or a lot of people put it at their desk when they're working as
I had
well.
a producer when I worked in Boston, and she had that light on her desk that was like giving her vitamin D. She said like doctor recommended.
Here's a question. Is it better just, I know sun is great, but in taking a supplement, does that help?
Vitamin D, yeah. I take a vitamin D.
Yeah, vitamin D1 is very important. So to get that supplement is exceptional.
I talked to a doctor for this story, and they said, you can take supplements as well.
Yeah.
But another interesting one is before the really colder temperatures settle in, get outside as much as possible because the higher that your vitamin D levels can be leading into the season is definitely going to help out. But we actually have our Weather IQ ready to go. Let's roll tape. Take two.
Real this time.
Yeah, it's happening.
Does
this winter have you feeling down, unmotivated, lacking focus, affecting your sleep or eating patterns? If you answered yes to any of these this time of year, you may have SAD, or Seasonal Affective Disorder. Let's raise that weather IQ. Over 10 million people in the U.S. have been clinically diagnosed with SAD, but many of you may have it and not even realize it. Seasonal affective disorder begins when the weather gets colder, later in the fall and through the winter. The biggest culprit? Less daylight. Charlotte, for instance, averages less than 11 hours of daylight from late October until mid-February, and less than 10 hours of daylight from after Thanksgiving to the first couple of weeks of January. The reason? SAD is linked to low vitamin D levels. Our bodies naturally produce vitamin D when exposed to sunlight. During the winter, colder and cloudier days limit our time in the sun, messing with our circadian rhythm. This disrupts our serotonin and melatonin production, impacting our mood and sleep. So how do we turn that frown upside down? It starts with food. Emotional eating is common during the winter because we crave those carbs that give us that boost of dopamine. But healthy foods naturally boost your mood during the colder months, and that will combat seasonal affective disorder.
Eat vitamin D-rich foods. These include things like salmon, eggs, mushrooms, fortified cereal, and bread.
Exercise is also a natural antidepressant. When you look out the window and see the sun is shining, get outside. Even 15 minutes of sunshine a couple of times a week can improve your mood. Wishing you the happiest end to winter possible, I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy. See, we all
Mr. Happy
like that guy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and the good thing about seasonal affective disorder, of course, it's seasonal based, but then there are some levels that can get that low. So go see a doctor if you think you have a low vitamin D levels, because we're right in the dead of winter. Now things are actually coming up. Today, our average high moves up to 54.
Yeah.
We're now getting more and more daylight. We're gaining about an minute, 40 seconds of daylight.
That's why people
every
are
day,
so happy to live on the equator. You know, it's
Exactly.
always sunny down
12.
there. Yeah. People on the islands, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Poor
By the way,
Joy Mott.
shout out to
saying,
Joy.
I know. She says, I'm struggling. My dad died October 8th, and my dog died last week.
Joy,
Joy,
we're
I'm so
sorry.
sorry.
That's tough, Joy.
So hard. John Kelly even chiming in saying, hang in there, Joy.
Yeah.
Joy, we're glad you join us every morning.
I know. We hope we're a bright spot in your day.
You're a highlight for us as well.
Yeah, you're part of our family.
And we hate to hear that you're
You
struggling.
get the award of the year, by the way.
Yes.
That's right.
Every day.
But you know, I do think this is a real thing. I mean, because you mentioned it earlier. Growing up in Cleveland, I used to remember my mom used to complain about all the time the gray skies. And she's like, oh, these gray skies, because she grew up in the South. And I was like, whatever, Mom, I don't care. But now as an adult, now that I lived in Charlotte for nearly 20 years, I couldn't go back to that. It's so depressing
Well,
to
see, I
be
think it's
gray.
the cold and
And I can even handle the, I can even handle the cold. I
That's
can't
a
hold the
combination.
cold and the gray skies.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's too
You know,
much.
you talk to people. I have friends of mine still live in Seattle, and I said, "Gosh, it's just always gray there." They said, "But for whatever reason, the climate is not snowing all the time."
Yeah.
So they do see a lot of gray skies, but the people, well, maybe it's a coffee. That's what it is. It's
the coffee.
coffee.
the bucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've only been here for a year, and I don't think I could go back. Because it's just, it's like a noticeable difference. And it's so funny. I think I couldn't have been out here for more than 4 months. And I went home back for the first time. And my parents were like, I noticed a difference in your hair, in your skin,
Wow,
in your
look at that.
eyes.
It's all that vitamin D.
It really is, though. So
makes a difference.
I couldn't do it.
Sunshine is a big factor, and everything in so many different ways that you just listen.
You and I talk about it almost on a daily basis about how important the sun is to my own personal well-being.
And sunscreen if you're going to be out.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Very
for
important.
sure.
Very
For
important.
No, but Ben was bringing up because the sun, say if it's 50 degrees, and when it's sunny, it can actually feel more like 60 plus because the sun is actively warming your skin. But then it's 50 and cloudy, it feels really quite chilly. So yeah, we always say at least it's sunny.
At least
so
it's
there's
sunny.
that optimism when we have that.
All right, folks, chime in. Joy, just know that we're thinking about you.
Yes.
Sorry, Joy.
And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning.